this on, right? Every time your clients purchase something from you, they are having an experience, whether you're controlling it or not. So if that is, today we're really going to be talking about services. So be thinking about, how do your clients work through your programs? What are your versions of those 4R's? And allow this to be in conversation with you, and be thinking through how you can take this and really do something to expand this area of your client experience, okay? Thank you for being in conversation with me. Let's see if we can do the thing. Yeah, because, clearly my techity is being a techity. Techity. This is why people, I promise you, I was like, oh my gosh, you have a tech company? And I'm like, it's the most hilarious, ironic thing on the planet, because I could barely open a Google Doc in 2019. And I promise you, I feel technologically geriatric today. Let's see. In some particular areas. Okay, we're going to give it. No, let's again. But come on now. We just going, all right, we going to do the thing. We going to do the thing. Nope, that's the wrong button. Let's see, again. Here we go again. All right, y'all. Bear with me again. I'm glad y'all ain't hiring me to build out Canva templates, because Lord Almighty. What I actually do is give people what they want. So again, this is the 4R's of unforgettable client experiences. Welcome to this training, y'all. Thank you for being with me. The real kind of reason why we're having this conversation is because people are buying programs that they can't complete. Let's just kind of start there. I have come to this realization because I am somebody who has been working in the realm of client experience for years. I'm too young for as long as I've been working in it. But from customer service, again, over 15 years in the management space, to being a coach for over 10 years, specifically the last 5 years in programs where I am coaching business owners, entrepreneurs on creating their client experiences, I hear all the complaints. I hear the complaints from your clients, I hear the complaints from you all. And, everybody has a course or a program that they have paid for, and they don't feel like they got the results. And if, you're like me and you're out here actually in these streets, in the ring, doing the thing, you facilitated a program where someone has come to you and asked for a refund or been like they didn't get the result, and you felt the sting on the other end of that. The truth of the matter is, I have been sitting with people telling me all of the ways in which it's hard and why for years. So I come to you as someone giving you kind of, this is why I say this, I really just feel like this is like my life's work in a 30-minute training. This is like the culmination of all of the big patterns that I've seen in these areas that keep us from these 4, right? That keep us from retention, that keep us from results, keep us from renewals, and keep us from referrals. So that is why this is my work in the world, because I know that this is a plan. And when I hear complaint, I hear opportunity, and we have an opportunity to do a different thing, okay? Now, oh my gosh, okay, first and foremost, introducing you to the magic Gene Berry. Yesterday, I was at dinner with the wonderful Miss Marisha Murphy, community builder extraordinaire, who I learned so much of my community management strategy and structure from. We're at dinner, right, in Las Vegas at a Jennifer Kim event. Also, if you don't know about Jennifer Kim, go find out, because wow, that woman was amazing, and the room she created was amazing. We went to dinner the day after with one of Marisha's friends, Jean, and Jean explained the most genius thing to me. It's the difference between, like you see here on the left, a funnel, and I want to say this is a water mill. The way she explained it is like, you want something where the water is running underneath and motorizing folks to move their way through getting their problems solved, right? All the way to, which is completely different than having a funnel where folks kind of fall in and are trying to get all the way to the bottom of. A completely different conversation. Now, the difference here is also the difference that I feel like is happening when people think about our offers versus our programs. So now give me a second. I'm going to add. Welcome in. Okay, we are just getting into the difference between offer creation and program design. So we in our industries, particularly if you are in an industry where, again, our coaches, our consultants, our service providers, our industry is incredibly top heavy and we don't really necessarily pay attention to that. All you're hearing is information about offer creation versus program design. What is the difference? Offer creation is the thing that you sell. Program design is the thing that you deliver. Okay. Offer creation is the thing that you sell. Program design is the thing that you deliver. And if we're looking for ways, again, talk about those 4R's, increase retention, renewal, and all of these things, you need to be able to have a plan inside of your programs for people to actually produce those things on a consistent basis across the world. Be like the watermill, not necessarily like the funnel. Okay. Thank you, G. Berry, for this fantastic analogy. Again, in other words, in simpler words, it's about what you deliver, not what you sell. We have so much out here, effort, energy, marketing, trying to teach you how to be a better salesperson, get more leads, get more targeted leads, get more action, get more audience. But if you cannot deliver the value that these people paid for, that's often, kind of the big difference between whether they're getting a result and whether they don't. So today we're really going to be talking about designing programs where people get what they paid for, not creating offers that are really exciting to sell and then they come into it and they didn't get what they paid for. Okay. And that's the piece that we're going to really be looking at today. Now, ineffective program design can lead to so many unexpected things that I don't think a lot of folks realize. Again, we spend so much time thinking about our marketing and getting the funnel right, and is the email campaign on point, and did we send a good conversion event to the person in here and there? We often don't remember once we get all that thing cumulated, right? And then we're delivering the thing. If they don't have a great experience or they're unable to actually produce the result that they came into the program to produce, it creates regrets. Right? And then it creates refunds. It creates a seed of resignation that allows people to feel like there's something wrong with them, not necessarily that there's something wrong with the program. And both of those things incredibly negatively affect the brand, right? These negative reinforcements come on either side. Also creates a reputation that I have seen so many brilliant humans who create brilliant work in the world have to deal with their reputation being, tarnished with this cancel culture. And most of it had to do with the fact that they really didn't fully consider their program design. It's one little tiny tweak that has nothing to do with the brilliance of what you created. And it's everything to do with the thought process and the delivery with which it's delivered, right? Also, again, that leads to inconsistent revenue. So many of my clients that have come to me and are like, I'm just looking for that consistency of revenue. I don't know why it seems to me that like I always have, to constantly be getting new clients. And I'm going, are they getting the results that they produce? And are you thinking through what that looks like? What's your program design looking like to make sure that it's easier to keep a great client than it is to constantly go get new great clients, okay? Some other things I want us to be thinking about when we're thinking about program design is that it creates this situation where a couple of things are present, right? That like only the magical unicorns get the result and everybody else is a donkey, right? Feeling like an ass. I don't know how many clients have sat with me and be like, if I could just get more me's in this program, that would be the thing. How come they don't do it like me? Good program design ensures that it is not the exception to the rule that people get the result. It is the rule that people get the result, right? This is a piece here. Also, people being super upset about the process that they missed the whole program. Again, I cannot tell you how many times, thank you, Hazel. I can't tell you how many times I have been with my clients and they've been like, oh my gosh, I'll never even talk to this person again because I paid them so much money and I can't even believe I didn't get X, Y, and Z. And it's like, I look through and I'm like, oh, show me your program, like the back end. And it's like, wow, this actually was gold, but I could totally see how it could have got missed because you randomly hit it in a slide deck somewhere or it wasn't emphasized correctly. All of, again, that is helping the program design. Other things that happen is your clients are giving up on the result, and it can set people back years. We were at this gym Kim met yesterday, and she said, I was in a mastermind with someone, and I told them my idea, and they told me it was the stupidest I've ever heard. It set me back 5 years. Hilarious, because that particular idea that she has is brilliant and probably an 8-figure idea, but because somebody else couldn't see it and because they didn't think through, again, a mentor designing how best to communicate that information, it set her back years. And I've seen people, again, churn and burn even more than that. I see people and I'm like, oh my gosh, girl, you have this amazing vision. Why has it been 5 years since you birthed it? And it's like, well, I took this course and I just couldn't make it through, so I don't think I'm actually going to be a coach. And I'm like, oh, wow. That is what you made that mean. That's what's available. We're not getting this right, okay? Other little quick things, consistent revenue can become very difficult because if people aren't getting the results, they tell people. Your reputation stands to be ruined because they're chatty. And we're in a season where the dark is coming to the light. So all of the people who are out here paying all the money to be in these programs and feel like they don't get shit are loud about it on these streets. These internet streets, they are loud about it in these internet streets. Again, I see people who are brilliant getting pulled down from their ability to be able to serve at the level that they need to, because their message actually is one that a lot of us need to hear, but because it's packaged so poorly, folks are out here diminishing their expertise. And that, again, is something that I see lost and won in the program design. Lastly, they're reinforcing that they're the problem, not your program. And again, like I said, you're snuffing out the light in somebody's excitement. You never want someone to feel like they're less brilliant because they couldn't make it through your process. We can change the process. Let's not snuff out the little tiny brilliant lights that we barely have. You know, it's so brave for people to be able to get to a place where they can actually shine their brilliant light. Let's not snuff it out just because we have these overcomplicated processes that actually aren't thinking about the ways in which people can win, okay? Now, in this training, we really are going to talk about building programs that people are excited about and ensuring people get what they paid for. Let's make your client experience something that is unforgettable. Talk about that in a second, right? And again, I am a big believer that financial outcomes or financial success is an outcome of work done over and over and again, consistently and done well. You will have more consistent revenue if you've got customers that are excited to come back, excited to tell people about it, and are getting the results that they paid for. Because just as loud as they are about when it doesn't go right, they're getting even louder about when it does because of this cancel culture that we're in, okay? Now, people are more likely to achieve your results if they actually make it through the program. So we're gonna talk a ton about that. You have to think and plan for how they get the result. And again, I wanna, speak to some of my coach girlies in here, because I know you're thinking, girl, it ain't like I haven't tried. When does it become them and it's not me? Come on in. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, because I am you. I see you. I see both sides. The truth of the matter is, people are paying you for the problem solved. They're not paying you for the process. They're not even necessarily paying to be in your presence. They want whatever the itch is scratched. They want to do it with you because they love you and they actually want to be in your presence. They actually may trust the validity of your process to get them there, but they want the problem solved. And the truth of the matter is, most of us are nerds for this shit. And we love it so much. We're in it. We're like this. We're so erudite, so scholarly in our thought process of it, and sometimes so far removed of it, right? We're helping people heal things that we healed 5-10 years ago, that we forget what it's like to be in this seat. You have to think and plan for how they actually will get what they paid for from you. And again, I'm going to break down some of the ways in which you actually could be able to do that, but you really want to think about it. What is the result that they paid for? Baby girl, again, no shade, no ego. It's not you. They paid to get a problem solved. What is that problem, right? What really is it? And be thinking through, can you guarantee that your program will solve it if they actually make it to the end? Which again tends to be half the battle, right? Like, they don't make it to the end. They're not watching the course. Let me talk to you a little bit about why. And again, some tactics that we can do to be able to get us there. I want to ground us in a bit of thought process. Good old Maya, again, patron saint of my business. People truly will forget what you said Forget what you did, but they will not forget how you made them feel. Again, the battle of how they feel about their client experience is won or lost in a program design conversation, not an offer creation conversation. Again, y'all can get real great at selling people into these shits, but we want to make sure that once they're in, they're getting what they paid for. Okay, kids? Now, let's get up in it. The 4 R's, we're talking about retention, results, referrals, and renewals. I put them in this order for a reason, and we're going to talk about why. Now, these 4 R's are all of the pieces that allow a client to move through a journey, particularly a transformational journey, well. Again, we want them to retain the information. We want the results that they're going to be producing. We want them to tell people that they love, that are like them, that want to come through this opportunity as well, that they should come to it. And if they need to come back and they have additional problems to solve, we want it to be comfortable for them to be able to do that. That's how you keep a repeat customer. That's how you ensure that value's been delivered. We're going to start with retention because retention is about being able to get it. The ability, my definition of retention, and all of these are going to be my definitions, girl, this ain't Webster, this is just my thought process on the thing. The ability to be able to integrate the concepts being taught and the skills being learned. Retention means they get what they need to get to be able to get the results. And when we're thinking about retention, things I want you to think about are a variety of pieces here. We're going to pop through A to F. Firstly, everybody has to learn something new and actually do it for the first time. If you are a business coach, if you are a life coach and you're training or teaching people how to have a new way of living, a new way of working their business, new systems, whatever that is that looks like for you, everybody has to learn and everybody has to be a beginner. Is your program ready? And have you made a program plan for how people are going to learn and how they're actually going to deal with being a learner, meaning they're doing something for the first time. They're not going to master it tomorrow, right? I see people, again, win and lose this battle a lot in delivery of content, right? It's like, oh yeah, I have this fulfillment campaign, this 58, trainings. I'm gonna send one out every single week. And it's like, well, are there action steps every single week? Yeah. Well, did it take more than a week to do the action steps? And it's chronological. So like you have to do these steps before we get to these steps. Yeah. Things to think about, right? Next, what is necessary to put in your program for your audience to actually be able to produce the result that they paid for? On the other end of this, I see so many people having programs who are full of the concepts necessary to know what to do, but not enough action steps. Or tons of action steps. Go get out there and go do it, but none of the education on to know how to do the action steps. Consider for your people, what do they actually need to know? And what resources are necessary for them to produce the result that they paid me for? And are those results in my program? Or should I start telling them that they're paying me for something else? Again, pieces here to look at. Next, what is your client's current reality and how will it affect how they participate? I cannot tell you the amount of people, particularly folks in the business development space, business coaches and consultants that have these back end programs that are 2,000 hours worth of 10 years of things that are gold and super important and good to know. They're in a Google Drive or a Dropbox folder somewhere. And they're like, well, I don't understand why they didn't get point 57 point A. And I'm like, is it minute 27 in the 5-hour video? No timestamps. Like, your clients are busy business owners that barely have 3 hours to take care of themselves, that they're taking 2 of those precious 3 hours to come and be in your program and watch videos. You may want to consider how they're going to consume based on the reality that they're in. You do a program for busy moms, you may want to consider that they're busy. You do a program for young people who are in college, you may want to consider that they're in college. Think about who your ideal people are that go through these programs and what's their reality like. And is your program make sense to fit into their reality, or is it adjacent to their reality and they have to make space for it? Those are 2 different builds and importance to prepare for either, okay? Next, what do they need to learn and to practice to actually get the result? If you're telling people in your program that you're going to teach them how to make multiple 6 figures, what do they need to learn to be able to do that? And then where are they practicing that skill so they can get as good as it is you? right? Regardless of what your service is, right? Even if we're talking about you're building websites for people, what do they need to know about the platform that they're on? And what little steps do they need to practice to actually make sure that they're going to be able to use your product when you leave, right? Things to think through. And again, what is their time bandwidth? This kind of goes into the current reality. How much time do these people actually have to be doing what it is that you're asking them to do? And is your program suited for that? If your program requires that they do 20 hours worth of education, but your program is 6 weeks long and not evergreen, where they can't come back to modules afterwards, most of the people who come through your program are not set up to win. Think about those things. Lastly, I would say this is so important when we're talking about retention, people's ability to actually retain what's being said and integrate it into action, because that action is the only thing that's going to help them produce the results. Their ability to retain information, their retention is crucial to that action being clear. Where do people fall off? Y'all, hello, look, we know our programs, we know our work, we know the spots that get sticky for everybody. But we know that, like, that first 30 days off sugar is going to kick your ass. We know that the first 7 trips to the gym is going to make you want to give up. We know that filing your LLC makes everyone want to jump off of the thing. We know. What are they? And make sure you're planning for them. Put a little cushion down, right? Talk a little bit about that on the next slide. Now, these are some things that I want you to do to make a plan for those things that I wanted you to consider. First, what do they need to learn to actually get the results? Make a plan for it. Think through at least 4 or 5 bullet points of, like, if they do not learn this, they will not be able to take the action necessary to get what they paid for. Know what those things are, highlight them in your program. Next, what is the process of learning those things in your program? If it's going to take them something that's going to be a little bit more difficult to do, make space for that difficulty. Expand areas that require a little bit more love, contract areas that they should move through a little bit differently. Consider what actually helps a person retain information, and consider how you want to approach the learning in your program. I'm going to tell you right now, drive traffic to your learning assets. Most of the time that I see people drop the ball here in the retention space, it's because they did not spend enough time driving traffic to the learning portions. In the same way that you have to drive traffic to the marketing to get people to buy it, it takes people 7, 8 times of seeing that they need to go and hear this thing in the course, that they need to go and pick up this piece of the workbook, that they need to show up to this training before they actually realize that if they don't learn it, they won't get the results. Say it often, say it all the time, make a plan for it. I honestly love a fulfillment campaign in the same way you do an email campaign to make sure people are getting those results, okay? Next, what are they practicing where and how often? Where do they get to be on the court? Where do they get scrimmage? You can tell I've been hanging around with the basketball. I got basketball analogies. Where do they get the opportunity to actually play and practice what it is that's necessary before they get out there and do it, right? Or are they need to get out there and do it, and that's the practice? If that's the case, they spend all day long on a Zoom call with you and they never take any action, then you're wondering why they don't get the results, right? That's why we're here. Make a plan for where they practice. That balance between learning and action needs to be planned for. Next, again, consider their bandwidth and make a plan for how much time they need to give to get a win. Be clear about it up front. Tell people, if you do not put this in, you will not get this result. Think through how you're saying it to them. Think through what your delivery of that is going to be, right? Again, I understand some of these concepts we're going to move through really quickly, but girl, I'm here. You've got questions coming. Next, and in all things, who is in charge of ensuring that people are retaining information and results are happening? The number one thing that I can say in this program design conversation, if you are not hearing it in any other part, you want to pause the thing here, this is that piece. Somebody has to be in charge of making the results happen. Even if you are in a self-guided, even if what you have created is a self-guided program, somebody needs to be caused in the matter of them succeeding. Somebody has to be at cause. It's important. It's kind of like putting together a project management system that nobody project manages. The tasks are going to be there and they look real cute, but it's anything actually getting done. If nobody's in charge of it, it will not happen. If you are the person who's the person that's supposed to sell it, deliver it, show up on the video, tell everybody about it, make sure that they get it, that's a lot lot for one person to do. I would suggest that you put systems in place so that you can make that happen, or you outsource folks to make sure that they can help you to make that happen. You usually need somebody before you think you do when we're talking about this program design conversation. Most of our coaches are the hires that I see people need to make more than anybody is client managers and accountability support. If you've got, and look, also we're gonna lean in a bit. If you've got a program that's more than 25K, more than 50, like more than 25K, I would say, you can afford to hire somebody who is their sole job is to check in on the people who are actually in it and doing it. Do that thing. It's a worthwhile hire. It's a worthwhile hire. Okay. Next piece. Other things I want you to think about here when we're talking about retention is the integration conversation, right? There's what they learn, and then there's how they integrate it to get results. Structure that learning in a way that makes space for them. And I want you to be thinking about diverse learners. I can't tell you how many people are like, well, how come they don't learn it like me? Well, girl, because not everybody is you. Right? And I want to tell you, if you're working with brilliant people and visionary people, they tend to be on the neurospicy side. Are you prepared for how neurodivergent people learn? Are you prepared for how people learn when they're in a rush? Are you prepared for how people have to learn when they have this much time and this much to do? Are you prepared for the ways that people learn in 2024 and beyond, right? Are you prepared for that? Next, again, we talked a little bit about that. Drive people back to the retention. You've got to drive traffic in your programs once they pay the things that you need them to do to get the results they paid for. Full stop. It's necessary to do. We all forget to do it for some reason. You got to be thinking about that. And then again, make sure you make a plan for these stuck points. People are going to fall off. What's your plan for that? Can you get them an accountability buddy? Can you make sure that you check in with one-on-one calls more often during that time of the section, right? Be thinking about your structure. And then I want you to be thinking about, in that same vein, what is the balm for that, right? What is the aid to support the stuck points where people fall off? Is it more one-on-one in one section of your program than others? Honey, again, I don't have to give y'all permission. So you can absolutely play with your program design. You don't have to have only one one-on-one call in the beginning and in the end. You could stack 2 or 3 in the beginning because you know that they're at a stuck point. Or you could, again, have an accountability partner that supports people through the time where they typically tend to fall down. You could add more group support or more training around those things. You know your program better than I do. And again, you pop into me and we can talk a little bit about the specifics and the customized way that this works for you. But be thinking it through first, right? What structure have you seen work in the past that helps people get unstuck that you could systematize for everybody and just make a part of the design that you usually work through, okay? Next, we're going to really be talking about the results. That's what they're here for. My definition is whatever the expectation is of what the buyer has about what they will produce with you. What is their expectation? What's their expectation? I came to you so that I could learn my marketing. I came to you so that I could lose 50 pounds. I came to you so that I could heal my relationship with my mother. I came to you so that I could get my operating system built, right? What is that result? And that is what is that definition? And that's what I call the result. Things to consider in the results. Think about the result that your client is committed to achieving. Do you know it? And the reason why I ask this is because, again, so many of us are like, I'm here so the ways people pay me. I mean, here's the vibe. Get clear and make sure you know it. Next, what is your foolproof plan to make sure that every single type of client that buys can get the same result? Now, again, we know the truth. 100% of the people who go through your program are not going to get the same results, but do you have a plan to make sure that the result is the rule and not the exception? Next, are you clear on what actions they have to take to achieve the results? Are they clear? Can you make sure that you're both on the same page? Next, do you know your strengths and weaknesses? And can you outsource accordingly? Are you a fantastic teacher and not necessarily the best at the details and figuring out why people are stuck, right? Are you an amazing coach, but not necessarily the best at communicating thoughts and things? Well, I'll outsource, get you a curriculum producer. I'm just saying, right? Are you somebody who you have less bandwidth, and so you know this is something that you need to be able to do this much effort into, but they may need to also do this much effort? It may be worth outsourcing somebody to fill that gap, okay? These are the things I want you to be making a plan for when we're ensuring that people get the results they paid for. If you want to know what results it is that they want, audit them. Gather enough info to actually know what result the client is committed to achieving. I promise you, again, this conversation around inquiry and questioning and audit, I feel like I'm a broken record. I'm saying it over and over and over again, but you have to check in and actually ask. And when I say ask, get somebody on Zoom call face to face, if that's their program, and go, what are the results that you're committed to achieving in this program? Make it clear, make it direct, so they know you care and you know what's up. Even if you're not sure if you can deliver it, at least you know, and this is your opportunity to get to be honest, okay? Next, is there a plan for how they take action, not just how they obtain information and integrate that information? Again, we're going to take a second on that one. Let me take a breath and a water sip. So, let us check the chat, make sure that we're good there. Oh, goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Okay. At least you can still see my screen. Okay. I cannot tell you the amount of times that people go through a program and they only show up to the live call with the person who's leading. And then they're wondering why they don't get the results, right? It's people who are in the programs and they're sitting with me and like, oh, look at some feedback about like, why isn't you wanting to leave the program? Well, I've done these calls for 3 hours every single week and my business still hasn't changed. So that's like, well, did you do the things that they told you to do? Like, when did they tell me to do stuff? Oh, we need to make sure that we have a plan for what the actions are that they need to do, not just the way that they actually retain information. Okay, that's important. It's important for them so that they actually win, and it's important for us so that we actually make a plan for that, right? I also can't tell you how many times I've had people on the other end of that be like, okay, I know I'm just really good live and just kind of put me in the thing. Just come to me and ask me all your questions. And then after you guys make idea after idea and strategy after strategy and thought process after thought process, they get off the call and are left with their computer and it's like, well, shit, what do I do? What do I actually need to do? Be thinking about their actions, make a plan for that, make sure they know their plan, and make sure they know how frequently they need to come back to doing it, okay? Next thing, set clear ass expectations, upfront and honest. There's a variety of ways that we can get into how I love to do this. Again, come get on the phone with me, we'll talk about these things. But upfront at the beginning, as face-to-face as you possibly can, you want them to know, like, this is who this is for. These are the actions and behaviors that are necessary to get the results of this program. Here are the things I'm going to be requiring that you do that you maybe don't know that you need to do. Are you willing, able, and excited about doing those things? Get that buy-in. Again, particularly if we're talking high-touch programs, my coaches, my consultants, my over a 5K, 10K program, y'all, set these clear expectations up front. It will save you so much in refunds. So much, I promise you. Next, roadmap their results, right? If there are big results that you know that they're really looking for and leading in, roadmap those results. How long will it take to get the first one? Do you know about how long it usually takes, folks? Put it on a roadmap for them. If they're going to be on something, again, this particularly is great for folks who are in membership or subscription models or 6-month to 12-month models. If they're going to be with you for a considerable amount of time, make sure they know what they could look forward to in a roadmap of the results that they're going to be looking to produce, right? What does 45 days look like versus what 6 months looks like? What should you expect to get by this time if you put in this effort around that? Having some sort of roadmap, whether they follow it or not, actually keeps people on track further and allows people to be able to find themselves kind of along that pathway, okay? Also, in that roadmap conversation, make sure you've got a big win baked into the first 30 days. Incredibly important for retention, which again is the juice, the necessary soil for planting a beautiful flower called results. It's necessary for retention that people get that reinforcement. That positive reinforcement, and a big win or a result in the first 30 days usually keeps people going, okay, if it's actually going to take me a good amount of effort to get here, it's worth the effort because look, I've gotten something out of it. Now, these wins don't have to be anything that is bigger or super huge than they actually can create within the first 30 days. Connection is a win. right? Mentorship is a win. For some people, one of my favorite first 30-day wins is the win of getting them deeply, especially if you're in a group program. If you're running a group program or you're running a program or a client experience where there are quite a few people here, like even if you're doing events, right? Hazel, I see you in the comments, 1-day events, 2-day events, 3-day events. Instead of first 30 days, I want you to think first 30 minutes. For you, probably first 2 hours of an event, right? Get them that win that goes, I'm not going to fall asleep in this seat. I'm actually going to keep paying attention. You can kind of consider it that same way. Connection, I love for this. It's the feeling of, oh, whatever it is that's happening to me, I'm not the only one who's experiencing it. And there are other people in the room who are experiencing too. Usually is a great first 30-day win. Another one is mentorship, right? The feeling and knowing that you got them, that you know something that they don't know, and you actually are going to be able to hold them through the process, particularly for my high touch, high ticket offers, often is the win they need in the first 30 days. They're not lost in the Sinai, out here in the desert trying to find water. They've found someone that's actually going to be able to help them get the thing that they need to be able to get. Oftentimes that's enough of a win in the first 30 days. Okay. Lastly, again, I'm going to say it over and over, drive traffic to the results. Particularly, again, if you know that there is one big thing that would make the difference in them being able to get the thing that they feel like they paid for, your efforts and energy to be mentioning it, driving traffic to it over and over and over again. My business people, again, business dev people, lean in this conversation. If you can get them, if there is a result in your program that will allow them to get the full financial amount that they paid for the program, if they were to do the results, that should be the thing. That is the thing you drive traffic to more than anything else, and the loudest, right? If you know, like, let's say if you're a business coach like me and you have a business program, if you know that if they just get on the phone and can book 10 sales calls a week, they will make back the money they paid for the program, that is worth driving traffic to, putting games around, putting structure around. They're going to have lots of different fun ways in which you can make that experience happen, but it's worth driving traffic to it, okay? Then make a plan for the all to win. Make a plan that everybody wins. Again, I'm not attached to people follow the plan. If you don't even have the plan, there's no opportunity for anyone to follow it. I'm asking you to make the plan. Make the plan and then consider and really check in with the data to see, are people making it through the plan? And that will give you some insight into where they have stuck points. That'll give you some insight into where they have roadblocks. That'll give you some insight into what that looks like. And again, in the results area, if it's not managed by someone, it's not being managed. So someone has to be responsible for the results on your team. Make sure, right, that that person is in place. Because again, we can plan until we're blue in the face, but if we don't actually manage that plan, it's not actually coming to fruition, okay? Let's see. Next, let's talk about referrals. So if people are retaining all of the information, they're able to integrate it, they were able to practice, and now they're out here getting the results because they got on the court and started doing the actions consistent, they're ready to tell people about why it is that they got this result, particularly if they've been trying for a long time to get it and they're finally getting it. If you want that referral, right, that's the thing to think about. My definition of referral is just the people who paid you, had a good enough experience, they want to share it with other people. Things to consider in referrals. What win do they need to have to tell people they love this? What is that win, right? Again, if it's the, when women lose that 20 pounds, if it's the 20-pound win, right? What is the win? Make sure you know it. What's the system of sending people to you? Do you have one, right? And who are the people in the group you know are the referral network connectors, right? And who are the people who are not? And do you actually make space to be in communication with people so that they know that? Some things I want you to make a plan for when it comes to making sure you actually get referrals from people who are getting results. Again, this is contingent on the people who are getting results. You want to make sure they're referring you. Here's some things to think about. One, when does somebody on the team ask for the testimonial, right? I can tell you right now, it is best to collect a testimonial when the win is hot. If they are excited about it, get the excitement then. And why we want a testimonial is because, one, it gives the person the ability, well, the most important piece, honestly, is that it gives the person the ability to reflect on the result that they produced. They are now incredibly present to it. That's the easiest time to go. Is there anybody else that should find out about this? the easiest time when a testimonial is present to them, whether they created it or you created it. With testimonials, I really, really do love, and again, knowing your testimonial and feedback system as best as you can when they have really big wins, particularly when you know it's someone you want to refer. Having that conversation face to face on like a Zoom tends to be a little bit more potent, whether you use the testimonial interview or not, whether you transcribe it and end up putting it on your website and text anyway, because you actually are there asking them the question, it becomes easier to bring them into an invitation about how they could have other people have the experience that they had. You want a system for that. And what is your feedback system, right? If somebody, do you have a system with which you find out where people are getting results and when, so that you actually can have them, identify to you, hey, I had a result, so that you know to actually reach out to them. So make sure you've got a plan for that, right? Okay. Next, again, this is also around that conversation around how do you plan for testimonials and what are the triggers? That's that same piece of the feedback system. What are the triggers inside your feedback system that say, I should reach out to this person and ask them for a testimonial, which leads to the process that helps to create a referral, okay? Next, you've got to remind the people of progress that they made. What is your system for reflecting back to clients the wins that they've had at the time of being with you? Again, this is one of those. Let me sip a little water so that this delivery is not parched. Put on a little chapstick so you can see my lips say it. Tell these people when they win. Tell these people when they win. Most of us in the Western society, particularly, are so self-critical. All they think about is that if I'm not at the end, I haven't won. Tell these people when they're winning. They have amnesia. They will forget it. They will not see how brave they are. You'll see it better because you're looking at them. They will not acknowledge how kind they've been, how great of a learner they've been. That's one of my favorite acknowledgments. Acknowledge people when they really learn something well, because that's going to give them the juice to do the action to get the result. Okay. But if you put a process of this in place, it makes it easier to have more feedback more frequently, right? And it makes it easier to then be able to understand the triggers that lead to testimonials that allow for referral conversations. You see how this is like, these are bricks that set up the foundation of these programs to have this be something that's rich. And again, like that water mill is self-sustaining. Can you kind of see how these bricks get laid? These pieces are a part of it. It may seem insignificant to get on a call or send a message and go, hey, I noticed your new Facebook post. You made me look amazing. I noticed the energy that you showed up on this call. I can tell that you've been doing your reading. It goes a long way to the end result, even though you may not think it is. And it feels really good as the person who's telling people things to remind people of their brilliance. They forget. Particularly extra brilliant people, they're always looking at the future and they never see themselves as cause of the matter. You've got to remind them, and it will keep them being in a place where they remember that they are achieving things, so that they do fill out your feedback forms and tell them that you're getting results. Okay. The thing I want to say real quick about feedback, we want the feedback that you would consider negative and positive, because all of it is helping us create more laser and strategic programs. Hear me. Okay. Last, what is your referral affiliate system, and do your clients know it? Again, the amount of people who are like, I don't ever get any referrals. I'm like, girl, do you have an affiliate link? And they're like, ooh. What is your affiliate system? Make sure you have one, right? Make sure, you know what I mean? At the very least, you're emailing your people every once in a while and going, hey, is there anybody that you would like to introduce me to? If you don't actually put a plan in place to do that, it doesn't just happen naturally. And I think a lot of people feel like your clients are going to figure out a way to refer people to you. Why don't we put a system in place to make sure they actually can do that? And on the same note, why don't you put a back-end support system in place to make sure that it happens? Where are you project managing your affiliate check-ins? This piece, particularly for my bigger companies that are managing every little task down to the fart that the VA is having in the Philippines, these people, I find so often don't actually have a back-end system to check in on referrals, to ask for referrals, and to track affiliates to make sure that anything's actually coming in. Before you say that it's not happening, make sure your back-end can support making it happen, and make sure you have a plan that your clients can be enrolled in so that they actually can share you. Give people swipe copy. Again, we can talk more about that later. Lastly, keep an eye from the beginning on the people that you know are well connected. Y'all, this is codes. You know the 5 or 10 people who are in your group that just have big communities and audiences, or they're just evangelists. I am an evangelist person in a community. You get me in your community. If I like a taco, I'm telling everybody about that taco. I had a transformational time at Jen Kim's event. I've told everybody about the Jen Kim conversation. You know the people like me that are in your programs, that if they're getting results, they're going to be telling lots and lots of folks. Be making a space up front to be connecting with those people a little bit more than others. A DM here, a 30-minute conversation. You just want to hear how you're doing. Like, tell me how this is going. Who else should I know? Because I love you as a client, and where are more of yous hanging out? What can we do? Is there a 10% that we could do to be able to get, your people that are that? Put a little plan in place to make sure that you're communicating with them maybe a little bit more than usual along their big wins and results, so that you can kind of beef up that referral system. It's great for your people because your people, trust me, people like me, we love to see our people win. So we want to send people to things that we know really work. It ain't like you're taking advantage of us by doing that, but most of us, we're not going to create it for you. You got to help us out with that. So check in with us, give us the opportunity, remind us to introduce you to people. One of the things I love so much, get on a call with someone and go, hey, open up your email. We can do these introductions right here because we're busy. We are busy. Do you know how loud the world is? We have so much going on. Sometimes get on a call and make space for people to do the thing that you want them to do on the call. Again, that's a story for another day. We'll get deeper into that at another time, or get on my phone call, get in office hours and ask me about how best you can customize that strategy for yourself, because most of us would benefit highly from thinking about that, and getting a bit of a temp check with our super buzzy bees inside our communities, okay? Lastly, some extra things again. I think we've got a double slide here. Well, a second double slide. There we go, we made it to renewal. Okay, lastly, I want to talk about renewal. And I define renewal as the client sees you as the access to solving their problem, and they want to come back to you to continue to solve their problem. When you're thinking about renewal in this conversation, I'm kind of talking about a couple of different, am I still, wait, hold on, when you get to renewal. Oh, okay, wait. These are for renewal, but it says referral. Forgive me there on the slide deck typo. It messed me up. Okay. Things to think about. When I'm saying I want people to renew, I want you to think about it in a couple of different ways, right? In one end, right, if we go back to that kind of watermill, you may have programs that solve a variety of different problems, and you want people to know that they like solving one problem with you, right? There's probably 3 or 4 other problems they're happy to solve with you. Like if I were to give an example, so I did so many business cards, so I'm gonna think of something. Like, how about I would say, like, if somebody like Pilates, right? Like I love my Pilates instructor, Teresa, right? And I'm coming to her to really, the result I'm looking to produce the deeper relationship with my body and access to a movement practice that I love with consistency, right? The results that I get and I produce from being in Teresa's Pilates program is that I learn a lot about anatomy. I understand how my body anatomy actually responds, like how different I am than the skeleton that I see, and where my muscles struggle and where they don't. I also know how to create my own movement practice, and I have body sovereignty around how to move my body in a way that actually stretches me sometimes when I want that. It makes me feel really good and aid in my bone structure as well. Also, I'm getting dope ass posture because your bones align when you do muscle work, and Pilates helps to do that, right? These are all problems that get solved from a variety of different things that I do with my Pilates instructor, right? I show up and I do Pilates with her, right? She's got Pilates trainings where I can go online and get that information. We do group Pilates of the Strong Squad where I can watch other people do their body information, and she's got a variety of like infographics and things around her studio that help me to be able to continue to learn. And we even have integration sessions where we check in on how it's going. Each one of those, I buy every one on the whole lane of the piece. I am someone who's renewing myself into all of these pieces, and that's one section or kind of renewal. It's like going through the different problems that you may solve, and if people are getting a lot of results and they really have built a lot of trust with you, it's easy for them to want to renew into those things. Another lane of renewal I want you to think about is that some folks want to come back over and over again and assess the same problem, right? Particularly, I see this business coaching, trauma coaching, spiritual coaching and consulting, corporate coaching and consulting, right? You're talking about tackling complex issues that may take 3 to 5 years to actually, do large scale result on, but you're tacking away at it every 6 months or a year or whatever that program looks like. You want people to keep renewing and coming back to that process because they're getting something out of going through it over and over again. You've also made, again, some things I want you to really think about. How long will it take them to get the result versus how long your program is, right? And particularly, again, if you've got an audience of people that are super duper busy, they may need to hit it 3 and 4 times because they're not actually present while they're doing it, right? Or again, if you've got a very complex system or structure that's really great and delicious and meant to set them up for a long time, but your program's only 3 months or 6 months, I'm not saying extend your program. I'm saying think about, make a process for renewals, because that's how you keep people being able to get the results with you. They're not necessarily mad at it. What I want you to hear that this is not is, well, I failed and I want to make 6 people to come back, so I have to make a plan for people failing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there will be a good percentage of people who just need a little bit more time. Make a plan for that. Next thing I want you to be thinking about is, what is their pathway of return and when do they know that they should, right? I typically, again, I see this a lot with 6 months and 12-month programs. Want to check in at least probably a quarter before the program ends and go, okay, are they on, again, if you've made a results roadmap, have they hit any of the results that are on this roadmap yet? Are they kind of on track? If they're not, let's have a conversation about how we can make this comfortable for them and just have them come back and have a little bit more time. I cannot tell you again how shoulders go down when this happens. Next, how do they make their way back gracefully, right? Like, let's say people are in your program, and they want to leave and come back. Have you thought through and made a plan for what that actually would look like for them? Now, again, I'm going to go through kind of some of these things I talked about a little bit before, but these are the things I want you to really plan for. When should people know that they need to do it again, right? When is that point that you check in and go, it's been about 4 months and I haven't seen this result. Like, can we add a little bit more time? Make sure you know when those points are and you just have a plan for them. And it should be something that's strategic across, or not strategic, I'm sorry, systematized across all of your clients, right? Next, make a plan for the people who are going to need to do it 2 or 3 times, right? You've got folks in your program, you know what I mean, that have a lot going on and you know that they really just need to be in the community. Or again, I see this all the time in programs with people who have who are doing something that is like spiritually based or mindset and content kind of based. Make a plan for the people who are who are acing it, right? and make a plan for the people who are layman's terms, they have never even heard about it before. If they need to take it 2 or 3 times, make sure you're communicating that with them and make a plan for that. Next, make a plan to invite people back successfully without shaming them, right? And talk about it frequently. If you know that you're teaching something that's complex, if you know that this is something that, again, particularly again, like mindset stuff, like, that like they're not gonna, they're sit in front of their therapist for maybe 5 or 10 years to get this through, or they're gonna take a lot of action, or it's something that you want them to come back to over and over again. Just tell them, just like, oh yeah, this is a 3-month program and I'd love to see you again. Say those things often, frequently, over and over and over again. If you do that, you won't have to consistently resell them on the idea. As long as they're consistently producing the result and you're making it okay for them to come back, renewal is a natural part. It's great for your business and it's great for their results, okay? Next, be upfront about what renewal options look like. People like a little discount. I like to give a little discount. When people come, especially I know people are going to do it 2 and 3 times. I love to make it really comfortable and easy for them to have an option to renew. Be upfront about it. Make a plan for a renewal option first and foremost, right? And then make a plan to be upfront about it. Tell them at the beginning, right? Like, this is typically a 12-month program for folks, but we got lots of people who do it in 24, lots of people who do it in 36. We welcome you back. We give you a little discount if you make it through, right? That helps people remove that shame, put their shoulders down, let them feel at home to take this at their pace, right? Now, the way that you make sure that they take it at their pace, but they don't actually get complacent and not do action is what? Results roadmap and checking in on those results. You see again how these are foundational building blocks that are building you the foundation for a solid program design that is built, like Susie Carter says, built on bricks that last, not wood that rots, okay? Next, be clear about the adjacent problems that are likely to come up in the journey and how you can support your client in solving them, whether you're the solution or whether you're not, right? This is a part of that, having a dream team you love referring. You want to know, right? If you are, again, we come back to this conversation, let's use business coaching again because it's easier for people to understand. You're somebody, that works on brand and marketing and development. You know that they're going to need operations, they're going to need lead management, they're going to need team support, right? You may not want to do all of those things, but if those problems come up in their journey, and they may be done with you, but they're ready to go on to the next piece of the journey, have someone that you're able to also refer for them, right? Have a trusted member that you're able to pop into their program, and make sure you get paid for it. So first things first, know the problems that you solve, right? And know the problems that likely come before that problem and the problems that likely come after that problem, and have a list of folks that you can refer on either side of that piece, okay? And make sure you have that back-end system we talked about with the affiliates and referrals. Make sure you have that so that when you do send them off to their next part in their journey, so they can continue to get amazing results and have a life and a business that they love, that you get paid for it too. You've spent this time and effort cultivating this little chicken and making sure that it has all of the nutrients that it needs to be able to fly and be out here, and out here in the ethers. You've done all of that work to be able to do that, right? Make sure that when you pass this precious little chicken over to the next opportunity for them to grow, that you set up a system where, one, you can be in communication with them, and two, you get a little something off the top as well. Because the thing to know is that your beautiful affiliates and your beautiful referrals, downsells and upsells, are getting the leverage of your trust, right? So make sure you got a little system for that. Again, I can't tell you the amount of $1 million businesses that are missing multiple six figures from not doing this piece right here. Right here. Welcome in, y'all who are here at office hours. I'm just finishing up the last bit of the training. Okay, we're almost there, y'all. We're almost there. Technical difficulties and all. Lastly, again, big things that I want you to take from this presentation is you want to audit to amplify. Audit your systems. Go back through your program design. I gave you 4 beautiful things to think about amplifying, right? You want more retention so they can get more results, so that they can refer you to the people that they love and they can come back if they need to, right? Those pieces, you've given you a lot of insights, things to think about, plans to make. This is all about an audit. Audit your systems and look for ways in which you can pop a couple of these in so that you can amplify those 4 things, okay? Now, I'm not gonna leave you out here alone. If you know that you're like, girl, this is cute, but I have no idea what you're talking about, or I'm not sure if that plan actually is gonna work. I don't know that it's gonna produce the results that I actually feel like I wanna produce. There's a part of me that feels like, I don't necessarily know if the plan that I have is actually meeting these clients where they are. It comes out to me. Come talk to me. I absolutely will take a quick call with you to, help you assess if that makes sense. And I absolutely do an audit where we can go into your client experience, look at one of the programs that you're feeling like folks maybe aren't getting the best results for, or if you've got a new program and you really want to make sure that's potent because it's your life work in 30 minutes like this is. Clearly it was not 30 minutes. Come talk to me. Hop on my calendar, hop on an office hours, right? I do them twice a month. For my members, again, hit me if you want to be one of my members so you can come ask these questions. Let's talk about it because this is a conversation. There is a bit of a frame, right? There's little formulas here and there that help produce more of what it is that you're looking for, but it's a conversation because the best thing about a good plan is that it's customized to you and to your beautiful people, okay? All right, y'all, that's it. Thank you so much for popping into this. Stop this.